Hi everyone, today we are with the legal expert at McCarthy Durie Lawyers.
Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for having me. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be involved.
Thank you, Stephen. We all know that Stephen is one of the directors. And could you please tell us a bit more about what makes McCarthy Durie Lawyers so successful in the local area?
Absolutely, Kathy. I am one of the directors of McCarthy Durie Lawyers. I've been with the firm for 10 years. The business has been in Redland City, so in our local area, for 40 years this year. It was 1978 when John McCarthy came down here and hung his shingle for the first time and opened a practice. Bruce Durie joined him in 1980, and that was the beginning of the partnership McCarthy Durie Lawyers. We've grown quite a bit since then. We've got 8 directors now. I'm one of them. I'm the head of the firm's property law department. We've got 8 owners, 60 staff, 33 of those are solicitors. We've got 5 offices now. We've got an office here in Cleveland. This is where we started. This is probably our spiritual heartland. We also have offices at Capalaba, an office in the Brisbane CBD, an office on the north side at Arana Hills, and this week we opened our 5th office in Sydney. So we've gone to New South Wales after 40 years in business, so that's an exciting time for us.
Congratulations, so you've gone interstate. Could you please tell us a bit more about the property law that you specialize in?
Yeah, so I'm an accredited property law specialist. That's an accreditation issued by the Queensland Law Society. If we think there's about 11,000 lawyers admitted to practice in Queensland, 26 of us have that accreditation at the moment. And look, so my daily work is supervising a larger team of property lawyers and conveyancers. That's everything from mum and dads buying and selling their homes and things like that, investment properties, through to acting for the owners of, say, shopping centres, industrial business parks, and the developers of high-rise apartment buildings. So that is one of our core competencies. That is my speciality, and that's what I enjoy doing for a living.
And which suburb do you live in, the Redlands?
Unfortunately, I'm a born and raised Redland City boy. I grew up in Birkdale, and I live at Victoria Point these days. I get to commute 10 minutes to work here in Cleveland, so it's a beautiful place to work and live. And not that I mind the commute to Brisbane on occasion. If my clients need me in Brisbane, I'm in Brisbane. But it's something special to be part of this community where we've all grown up for, as I said, the firm's grown up for 40 years. We walk down the street and I can't get to the local coffee shop without being, bailed up by half a dozen clients, the local bank manager, or the local accountants. We know each other, and it's, a real community down here that we try to be part of.
Great. So you love what you do and you do what you love. Is there any costly mistake without consulting a property lawyer?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I like to say that probably the most expensive advice is the advice you don't get. Every day of the week we see people coming in with, costly mistakes or missing out on things, disputes of all nature, that we could have quite readily averted had they just spent 10 or 15 minutes with us before they jumped into the transaction. People go off and they sign contracts, they do deals, they enter into transactions. Often, not fully appreciating what they're getting themselves into. They do that without perhaps spending or investing the time to get the deal set up correctly at the outset, and they overlook important things. And when they do that, they'll find themselves halfway through a transaction and ultimately in what proves to be a very expensive dispute. And it's the simplest things, because I think people probably take access to information and knowledge for a little bit for granted these days. We've got obviously the internet. You've got Google, Dr. Google, so they'll jump on it and they'll get a rough understanding. But when it comes to the law, unfortunately, the devil is in the detail. And so, as I said, a 5-minute call to your lawyer at the outset, we might be able to have a quick look over a contract or something like that, and there's nothing to worry about, and the client can sign and proceed. But every now and again, when we save the day big. I think recently I had some clients, an elderly couple that'd been running one of the last remaining farms down here in Redland City for their entire lifetime. The time came to sell the farm, and they come in with a simple contract, and it was a simple enough transaction. But we had a look at it, and it's the detail the clients don't think of, or with respect, the agents don't think of.
Yes.
And you ask the client, well, what's the GST profile of this transaction going to be? Because this contract says that the purchase price is inclusive of GST. Lo and behold, when they spoke to their accountant, thankfully before they signed the contract, they were up for over a $200,000 GST liability. We were then able to amend the contract, work with the other parties, and restructure the transaction so that nobody paid GST.
That's great.
The simple things, ordinary people don't think about it, but 5 minutes with your lawyer could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. That was an extreme case, but they're the kinds of things we do every day.
That's very interesting. I operate in a roller coaster kind of scenario, but you seem to be able to calm the thunderstorm when it comes to property law. So you find out what can be prevented, and you find out how it can be maximized.
That's how we can. That's our opportunity to best add value to a client's transaction, is when they get in and they see us before it's too late. And to then sort of unwind things or try to fix things after the fact, it might cost them 10 or 100 times in legal costs what initial consult might have been. And we have a wider range of, we do discounted initial consultations for clients. We have a whole host of fixed fee service offerings just to make access to that advice up front affordable and easy for our clients. If more complicated work follows from that, well then the clients will be charged accordingly. But as I said, it's getting the clients in there so they get the proper advice before it's too late, and that's how we try to make ourselves more accessible to our clients.
That's great. And one final question, if that's all right, is what will be the cutting edge technology that McCarthy Durie Lawyers have gone ahead before your peers?
The good thing about being, not just a suburban practice, I mean, we're in the suburbs, but we are a much larger firm, is we have, the resources to invest in, emerging trends and technologies. So we are one of the few firms in Queensland that are on the PEXA platform. I mean, people are talking about it, the big banks are on it, but there's still only a very small part of the legal profession that are all signed up and using PEXA. And that's an online digital platform for us to transact property purchases and sales, completely online. So we don't need, paper transfer documents. We don't need to have a physical settlement. It all happens through this online platform. And that will be the way of the future. We've invested quite a bit in getting ourselves set up and getting compliant so we can run that system. It's still not mainstream, but it will be, and that will be the future of the profession. We're also, investing significantly in other things like, the digital execution of contracts and things like that, so that again our clients could access a contract anywhere in the world with the assistance of their agent, and to sign that and get it sent back without having to print out a good old-fashioned hard copy on paper, sign it and post it back and forth and things like that. We're also investing time in developing information systems to help us deliver services, legal services to our clients in a more cost-efficient fashion, faster and with a higher and more consistent quality. But it's, as I said, we are keen to be early adopters of these new things. We need to keep improving ourselves. That's what our clients expect of us, and it's something that's important to us as an organisation to keep investing in.
Well, during the interview, what came into my mind was the word lighthouse. So it appears, and it is true, that McCarthy Durie Lawyers is the lighthouse in the legal field for, shining the way and, servicing the entire Brisbane, entire Queensland, and now will be the lighthouse for Sydney.
The eastern seaboard of Australia, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
So that's what we try to be, so we do our best.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for having us and sharing with us your insight and also your expertise in the legal field. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.